We thank all of you who have come out to show your support. Because of your safety and the safety of everyone involved in our communities is the number one priority for the group. We've decided to cancel the post-event at Sea Dog Brewery. We will continue with the ride as normal, and after the ride-through past the memorial at DY High School, we encourage all of you to keep on riding, take advantage of this beautiful day, and please support one of the many local restaurants here on Cape Cod, as they are also struggling due to the effects of COVID this year. In appreciation for all the supporters over the years, our past sponsor mile markers have been posted along the route today. Although we are disappointed that we will not get to see everyone at the end of the ride, it does not diminish why we have gathered here today. 19 years ago, many of us vowed that we would never forget. And your presence here today demonstrates that that's still true. We are here today because we are proud to be Americans, and this is our way of saying thank you to everyone who has chosen to serve and to honor the fallen heroes who have sacrificed all so we can continue to enjoy our freedom and live in the greatest nation on earth. The monies raised here today and throughout the year all go back into our community. Everyone from Big Nick's Ride is a volunteer and takes no pay. So we thank you for your support. Now, if you would, it's my honor to introduce the young Marines to post the colors. And now I would like to introduce our very own Gold Star Dad to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance the way no one else can do it. Steve Xiarhos.
Good morning, everybody. It's time to do our Pledge of Allegiance. And when we do it differently. We think of the words. This is not a poem. We're adults, we're warriors. We've been through a lot. So when we say the pledge, we say it with meaning. If you're a veteran, you face those colors with pride. Give a good salute. Everybody else, like me, hand over your heart. And let's do this loud and proud. Where is my little friend that was gonna help me? Come on up, brother. This is the future of America right here. Everybody hand over your hearts. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce Matt Levesque, who will sing the national anthem for us. Matt?
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the was still there. Oh, Saint us that star-spangled banner yet wave. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wonderful job, Matt. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Amanda Craig Tipton, and she will read the names of the 16 fallen from Cape Cod.
U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Alicia A. Birchett of Mashpee. U.S. Army Private First Class Paul E. Conlon of Mashpee. U.S. Navy Captain Gerald F. DeConto of Sandwich. U.S. Army Sergeant Alexander H. Fuller of Barnstable. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Matthew R. Gallagher of Falmouth. U.S. Navy SEAL Kevin A. Houston of Barnstable. U.S. Marine Captain Eric A. Jones of Mashpee. U.S. Marine Corps Private First Class William B. Kiernan of Falmouth. U.S. Marine Private First Class Daniel A. C. McGuire of Mashpee. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Matthew A. Puccino of Bourne. U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Stephen A. Sprague of Yarmouth. U.S. Army Private First Class Clinton E. Springer II of Bourne. U.S. Army Sergeant Zachary D. Tellier of Falmouth. U.S. Army Sergeant Mark R. Vecchione of Eastham. U.S. Navy Commander Francis T. Williams of Sandwich. U.S. Marine Corporal Nicholas G. Xiarhos of Yarmouth.
Up middle of June, she was planning a welcome home barbecue, green bean casserole, grandma's recipe. There was a knock on the door around 2 o'clock. 2 uniforms and her heart stopped. Yellow ribbon round an oak tree, blowing in the breeze. Wish to the ones that didn't make it back home, the ones we ain't seen in so long. Old number beer ones, wish they were here once and not forgotten but gone. They're in a better place someday, but we sure left a hole down here. We just go on living, go on missing the ones that didn't make it back home. The whole town shut down, the whole town showed up, sang Amazing Grace and watched the slideshow of his 22 years. There was laughs and there was tears. That preacher talked about sacrifice and traffic stopped for them Cadillac lights. But Johnny sold beer half price that night, and everybody raised them high, singing, here's to the ones that didn't make it back home, the ones we ain't seen in so long. The one of the beer ones who wish they were here once, not forgotten but gone. They're in a better place someday, but they sure left a hole down here. We just go on living, go on missing ones, the ones who didn't make it back home. Back to that front porch, back to that front door, the fight they were fighting for. Here's to the ones that didn't make it back home, the ones we ain't seen in so long. The old up the beer ones who wish they were here once, not forgotten but gone. They're in a better place someday, but they sure left a hole down here. We just go on living, go on missing ones, the ones that didn't make it back home, the ones that didn't make it back home, the ones that didn't make it back home.
Thank you. That was sung by our very own Big Nick's rider, Dick Fiskett. I'd like to introduce a special friend now of Big Nick's riders and the military veterans across the state. He's been doing awesome things for the vets, with things such as food for vets. His name's Don Cox, and he's going to introduce a special person to you.
Good morning, everyone. You got a great day for a great ride today, and it's an honor to be here with you. And it's an even bigger honor to introduce somebody I consider to be a very dear friend. For the last 125 days, this man has fought with me side by side against food insecurity for veterans across the state. And he's been a big part of the 3 million meals that we've delivered to veteran families from Pittsfield to P-Town and out to the islands. And I think that you should all realize that the hours he put into what he's done for our veterans is only the tip of the iceberg. He's on the phone all the time. He's always trying to help people, and he needs our help. We've set up a special email for him. It's x@usaforvets.org. And if you want to help, please send him an email. It's a privilege for me to introduce my friend, Steve Xiarhos. Please put your hands together for the man.
That's beautiful, thank you. That song, though, that was supposed to come after I talked. It means a lot to me. But I have to do what I do right now. So I tell you why we ride. But if you're a Marine, I need you up here with me. So those of you that are close by, that are Marines, come up with me, please. And let the people see. Remember, Marines are Marines for life. They've earned the title. We love all our veterans, but the Marines are special to me because of Nicholas. I raised one. And I'm going to read to you what I wrote for today. Why we ride. In early July 2009, my son Nick got to call home from war in Afghanistan. Nick had fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he told me he was tired. He said he wanted to come home and live on Cape Cod. His last words to us were, "Don't worry about me, Mom, I'm living the dream." 3 weeks later, on July 23rd, 2009, which is 11 years ago next Thursday, United States Marine Corporal Nicholas G. Xiarhos was mortally wounded in combat at age 21 while going to the rescue of his brother, 2nd Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment, Infantry Marines, during Operation Strike of the Sword in 130-degree weather in Afghanistan. In a flash of a second, the massive explosion took the life of United States Marine Lance Corporal Jeremy Lasher, took the leg of U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Dominic Davila, and traumatized the brain of Navy Corpsman Trevor Parr. Nick was evacuated and flown to a nearby medical tent where he fought for his life for over 3 hours. His wounds were massive. Nick needed a lot of blood. The brave Navy doctors and nurses gave all the blood they had on hand. And when they ran out, Marines and sailors gave blood directly from their arms. The doctors said, this kid just won't give up. When the last drop of blood ran out, United States Marine Corporal Nicholas G. Xiarhos passed on to another world. A few hours later, Marines came to the Yarmouth police station to ask the police for help notifying a family in Yarmouthport that a local Marine had been killed in combat in Afghanistan. They had no idea that Nick's dad was me, a Yarmouth Police Department commanding officer. My YPD family in blue were in shock. My cell phone began to ring, and it was YPD headquarters. They said, we need you at the police station. My heart stopped, my stomach turned. I told them, I'll tell you the rest of the story because the best I can. And what happened was they gave me this horrible news. And I passed out. And I made this horrible sound that came out of me. And then they picked me up, and now it was time to tell my family. So they drove me to my home, and we got in the driveway, a long driveway up a hill, and a mass of police officers and firefighters were with me. And I said, you guys stay here. It's my job to tell my family. So I walked up a long driveway in the front steps, and my legs, they felt like cement. They didn't want to go. But I pushed on, and I made it to the full glass front door. And I looked inside, and I could see my whole family. Nick's mom, Lisa, was in the kitchen. Nick's 19-year-old brother, Alex, was in the dining area playing computer games with his friends. And my beautiful 15-year-old twin daughters, Elizabeth and Ashlyn, were hanging out, watching their brother and his friends having fun. I could see my whole family together having fun. And I waited for a moment to take that sight in. Because I knew when I went inside, I would change their lives forever. So I forced my legs to move, I walked in that front door, I gave them the news, and I broke their hearts forever. 2 days later, my family and I stood strong as we could on the tarmac at Dover Air Force Base and saw Nick come home to American soil in an American flag draped casket carried by his brother Marines. I will never forget that sight. There's a man here today, a Barnstable police officer, a Navy veteran. He was with me standing there. Are you here? If you can, come on up, brother, if you can. If not, you stood there, and when I was shaking, you steadied me. I will never forget it. Now, 11 years later, here we are today. Our great nation that Nick and the other 15 gave their lives for need our help again. In the middle of a worldwide pandemic, Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen didn't give up. And you all have come together to show your strength, American pride, and your love. Special thanks to United States Army combat veteran Dan Magoon and all my brothers and sisters with the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes, United States Marine Corps veteran Roland James and his United States Air Force veteran wife Terry of West Yarmouth, and Mr. Toma Shepley, and everyone at Shepley Wood Products. These three amazing groups of people stood up and have completely funded all the expenses for this year's ride. Let's give them a hand. That's what Americans do. And I'm going to close with this. We must all remain strong Americans. We must stand tall and proud when we see the sacrifices made by the men, women, and families of our American armed forces and American law enforcement. As a police officer, I spent more than 40 years defending our freedom of speech and the freedom of expression. And I still believe in these words that United States Navy Admiral William McRaven spoke when he saw athletes taking a knee to the flag. Those that believe the flag represents oppression should remember all the Americans who fought to eliminate bigotry, racism, sexism, imperialism, communism, and terrorism. The flag rode with the Buffalo Soldiers of the 9th, 10th, 24th, 25th Cavalry and Infantry Regiments. It was carried by the suffragists down the streets of New York City. It flew with the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II. It was planted in the fields where Xiarhos spoke. It marched with Martin Luther King Jr. It rocketed into space on the shoulder patches of women, gay, Hispanic, Asian, and African American astronauts. Today, it waves high over the White House. It's a flag for everyone, every color, every race, every creed, every orientation. But the privilege of living under that flag does not come without cost, nor should it come without respect. Our nation and everything it strives for is embodied in the American flag. We strive to be more inclusive. We strive to be more understanding. We strive to fix the problems of society. But in striving to do so, we must have a common bond, some symbol that reminds us of our past struggles and propels us to a brighter and more enlightened future. And that symbol is our American flag. I am a proud American. I love our American flag. I am free today because someone fought, bled, and died in my place. And I vow, trust me, that as long as there is breath in my body, their sacrifice will not be in vain. I'm an American. We are Americans. We are the strongest weapon in the world. We always fight back. We never give up. Keep living the dream, Nick.
As our Marines leave the front platform, I'd like to recognize one special Marine here. Roland Hatch and his wife, Terry, have been instrumental in ensuring that you have today the first Big Nick's Red Shirt Friday t-shirts. Thank you, Roland. Now I'd like to bring Amanda Bragg-Tipton back up for our ending prayer.
I kept thinking of something inspirational to try to say, but over the past few months, I've honestly been feeling a weightiness over our nation and trying to fight through hopelessness. And then you see people come together for one mission, for one purpose, to remember, to honor, and to just simply say, I'm American. And so this morning, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Patriot, but right at the end, Mel Gibson, he looks over and he sees that the Patriots are just about to conquer the final territory. But the other Patriots are unaware that if they just hold the line, the forces of the enemy are going to have to retreat. But they're unaware of that information, and so they start to retreat and to recede back. And all of a sudden, he looks beyond what others can see. And he says, we have this, but we need to hold the line. So today, to every race and creed and religious background here, as Americans, I say to you, hold the line. Hold the line and stand firm. Stand firm for what our nation represents, for who our nation represents. Do not retreat in the face of darkness, but march forward into light, into victory. If you want to bow your heads with me, wonderful. If not, I respect that as well. God of grace, God of goodness, God who knew the United States of America before its foundation, unto you this day our hearts turn to. God, you see across every direction, north, south, east, and west. You see the heart's cries of the people of this land. And God, I ask you to answer them. God, just as thousands of years ago, there were native people who would dance dances unto the Great Spirit, that there were pilgrims who landed, that there were slaves who in the fields would sing songs, cry out to you. God, I ask that the prayers of ancient days would be answered now, that freedom would still reign, that the flag would still fly, and God, that you would still bless America. I pray this moment for every one of my brothers and sisters in arms across this world who are deployed and who are stateside, serving this nation, doing all they can to protect and to defend. I ask you, God, to protect their lives. I ask you to continue to comfort their families stateside and bring them through deployments. And God, yet again, let the sound of freedom be heard. In your name that fails not. Amen.
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 Now, Marines, the tie of the colors. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all again for coming. Thank Sheriff James Cummings and his wonderful staff for hosting us yet again. And as they say, let's ride. Big stands up, 10 o'clock.
Thank you.